welcome back to another episode of the Slay Vibez Only podcast. I'm your girl Jess, and I am so glad that you decided to tune in today. Happy New Year, y'all. It is 2025. The last time I talked to y'all, it was 2024. So it's been a little minute. I took a little bit of a hiatus and really decided to kind of just rest and spend some time with family. We kind of had a busy holiday season leading into 2025. So I was really kind of just hibernating a little bit. And then 2025 kind of kickstarted in the middle of a week too. Like, that's such a weird thing to do, like start a new year in the middle of the week. And everything was good. And then everything kind of got a little cuckoo bananas. And I mean, no, like 19 days in, or no, oh Lord, I'm already on Sunday. We're 16 days in, and yeah, there's been a lot going on in 2025 already. And one of the things that I definitely do want to address kind of as a sidebar before we move forward is the wildfires spreading and still going on in LA right now. I am sending all of my heartfelt condolences, prayers, thoughts, everything to whoever is going through this unspeakable, unimaginable, just like trauma and tragedy right now in LA. Nobody wants to see something that is supposed to be their safe space go literally up in flames. Nobody wants to feel that type of heartbreak and desperation. It doesn't matter if you're rich. It doesn't matter if you have insurance. It doesn't matter any of that. Those are memories that cannot be replaced. Okay? And we as a collective society have to really get to a place where empathy is not based off of somebody's like money. It's not based off of who has what and who doesn't. Like, empathy should be free regardless. And understanding that it only takes a hot second for your entire life to fall apart should just be a reason for us to just give everybody the empathy that they deserve. And the people going through what they're going through, rich, poor, whatever, in LA right now due to these wildfires, deserve every ounce of empathy that we can give them. So I'm going to do my due diligence and link some things down below, some fundraisers, some, things, people that are still donating, all that down below as much as I can find. And if you so choose, and if you can, because I understand that, finances and things are tight for everybody right now, but if you can do anything, then those links will be down below for you guys. But my heartfelt prayers and everything are going out to whoever is in LA right now going through what they're going through due to these wildfires. My heart goes out to you, and I really hope that you're okay and that you will find some peace in the midst of all of this trauma. So yeah, but I'm just very, very grateful to be here today with you guys and just be, make it to the year 2025. 2024 was an interesting year. It was a year of shakeups for me in a lot of different ways. And not only did it kind of take me out of my comfort zone, it really forced me to look at where I wanted to go and do next. And that, to me, is the reason why I took on New Year's resolutions in a completely different way this year. Because I feel like we think about New Year's resolutions like in this, like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym this many times. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And we set these just very much action-based goals for ourselves, but we do not take the time to really hone in on the thoughts, the reasoning behind the goals. We don't think about how we want to feel come the end of 2025. I feel like we don't connect on those levels with what New Year's resolutions are. So I feel like that is what makes it easy for us to kind of give up come, mid-February most of the time. Like, we're just like, all right, never mind. And I think too that especially this year, I feel like there might have been a bigger sense of hope starting off 2025 than ever before, but also mixed with like real big tinges of like, uncertainty, And so there are people that probably didn't even set New Year's resolutions this year. And I almost was one of those people. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, because I really made a commitment to myself this year that 2025 is going to be my year of consistency. So take a minute, get a bathroom break, get your coffee, whatever you need. If you're driving, buckle in, and we are going to dive right in after a little quick reprieve. So we'll be right back. Whew, all right, so we're back. And I just kind of want to dive right in because the final 2 weeks of December 2024 for me were not only kind of a blur, because like Christmas and New Year's were literally back to back. I don't understand who put that in the calendar like that. Who decided that two holidays where you spend time with your family were going to be back to back like that? I don't understand. So that was a very busy time for me. But at the same time, it also turned into 2 weeks of preparation. As some of you know, I pivoted and became an entrepreneur in 2024, starting my virtual assistant business and social media management business. And I just kind of been doing what I can to build that behind the scenes, along with pouring into my own content creation. And 2024 really was the time frame, like if you've heard, my previous episodes, 2024 was that year where I really decided to take these things seriously. And it was looking like I was putting in all this time and this work and this effort, and nothing was coming of it. And I was starting to get a little discouraged. And it really kind of got me to a place towards the end of the year where I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, do I continue to do this? And I'm not seeing any results. Like, do I keep doing this? And then the last 2 weeks, I secured 3 clients from a business by the grace of God. And I also made a commitment to fully dive into this podcast channel and just life in content creation in general. And in doing that, it was almost like it unlocked this sense of urgency. And not in a way where I felt rushed, but more so urgency to set myself up differently for 2025. And it was also the evidence of the seeds that I was planting, right? It was like, yes, the things that you are doing to cultivate this are actually working. Here's the evidence. Here's the proof. God was like, I see you. Now, what are you going to do with it? And I really took a moment and said, okay, going into next year, am I ready to write the vision and make it plain again? And I hadn't done that since 2018. 2018 was the last time I ever created any type of vision board, wrote anything out, made any like lifetime goals or anything. And since 2018, not everything, but mostly everything that I wrote out basically has occurred. Okay. Like exceedingly abundantly above all that I could ever ask or think. And this is not a brag, but this is really just me remembering the purposeful actions that I took to set up my 2018 differently. And that was the last time I ever did that. That was the last time I ever committed to being like, what do I want my life to look like? And since 2018, I met the love of my life, got married, and had 2 beautiful babies. Okay. And those were all things that I purposefully connected with and said, this is what I want, Lord. And then I took action steps to make those things, to pour into those things, because I didn't make them happen, but I definitely poured into who I wanted to be for those things to come to pass. And I was like, wow, okay. I haven't done this since 2018 and it's 2025. Like, what is really going on? And so I decided to take them some time and really write down the desires of my heart and take it to God and get clear on what those desires were. And it, as I'm writing this down, as I'm really sitting down and taking in not just what I want to accomplish, but how I want to feel, what I want to become, to hold this vision in, to hold it and be able to keep it, right? It brought me to the realization that I was going to have to really push myself outside of my comfort zone and be the one thing that I honestly struggle with, and that is consistent. I struggle with consistency so hard because I am human. And I also I get caught up in the big picture a lot. I get caught up in what I'm trying to accomplish and then how to make that happen. And then I spiral and it just becomes a whole thing, right? And I realize that this year is going to require me to push outside of that and really cultivate consistency. And so then it brought me to the question of this, like, how does one cultivate consistency? How are you, Jessica, going to cultivate consistency so that this year looks different? Point number 1, or at least step number 1 for me. If I say I'm going to do something, I have to do it. I feel like I'm calling myself out right now because it came down to like even recording this episode today. Honestly, the amount of work and organization and things that it takes to get all of this done is way more than just setting up my computer and plugging in this microphone. Like, I don't know if y'all have noticed, I have changed my background like 3 or 4 different times. Like, I'm doing this in a different area and space of my house. Like, there's so many different things that go into this that it sometimes overwhelms me. And then with the overwhelm comes this sense of apathy, just like, well, never mind, I'm not going to do it. And then that builds upon procrastination. And then I just end up putting it off because then I'm like, oh, well, no, you said you were going to do it. But then it's like, I don't really want to do it because it just takes so much time. And then like all of the just undercurrents of excuses just come in. And today specifically, I really had to lock in to the idea of, do I need to rest or am I just avoiding this because it's hard? And that was a very different question to ask myself. Because again, the whole listening to your body thing and that whole situation, like, yeah, there are days where I'm just like, no, I'm legitimately tired. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I am trying to do all of this, around raising my kids and supporting my family and my husband and running a business and, doing all the things. And sometimes I do need rest. Sometimes I do need to slow down, take a break, veg out on the couch, like zone out, scroll social media, even though I'm really trying not to do that very much anymore. But sometimes I do need to take those moments. But then there are other times where I'm really just avoiding getting things done because it takes too much effort. And at that point, I'm doing a disservice to myself because this is something that you committed to doing. This is something you said you wanted to do, Jessica. Like, this is something that you said you wanted to get done. This is something that you said you were willing to put in the work to accomplish. So you have to commit to yourself and be a woman of your word. And I'm like, all right, cool. Now, how do I get this done? And then it's all about pulling on the scheduling tools, putting it on the calendar so that I can make sure that if it gets done, because I'm also that mom that if it's not on the calendar, it's not getting done because I'm thinking of 50 million other things to get done. So putting it on the calendar, using my organization tools. I have a Notion board. If y'all have not heard of Notion, and this is obviously not sponsored, but if you have not heard of Notion, go look up Notion, okay? It gets a little complicated, but they have so many templates on there. And just if you are an organization person like me and you thrive off of that, Notion is your best friend. And then I have all these calendars. I have a system for my social media, Rella, and so I have all of these tools. So I need to use them. And I also realized too that like I have to give myself credit for the actions, not the outcome, right? Because sometimes we get so wrapped up in the result of something, the big picture, the big vision, that I don't know about we, because it's me. I get wrapped up in that. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. I get wrapped up in that because I just look at everything and all the different things that need to get done to accomplish this one thing. And then again, like I said, I get overwhelmed. And I think that I have to learn how to give myself credit for taking the steps one by one and then pray that it leads to the result versus being like, I want to do this big thing. So I have to get all this stuff done in order to reach the big thing. But then the big thing seems so big. It just seems like it's so impossible. That's the scary part. So I just kind of boop, clock out, zone out. But yeah, so I had to realize that, that was the biggest thing for me is like, this is my commitment, not anybody else's. And because it's not anybody else's commitment, I have to do it and I have to commit to it. And I'm proud that I'm taking the steps to get it done. And that is that's how I pour back into myself. That's how I give myself the encouragement to keep going. Then it comes down to me leaning on my village. And moms, I know y'all know that this is a hard thing to do sometimes, is lean on other people to help you when it's just easier for you to get it done. Or you just feel like, well, these are my kids, these are my responsibility. And yes, that is true. But we can ask for help, especially when you have people in your corner that see what you're doing and realize that it's not just, well, okay, what am I trying to say? When you have people in your corner that want to see you win, they want to see you be the full version of who you are, not just mom, not just wife, but fully yourself. It is okay to lean on those people. It is okay to pull them in and say, hey, I need you to lock in with me because I'm trying to accomplish XYZ. And I need your help to get it done. And I think that my husband and my mom specifically have been my biggest supporters. And it's been a game changer for me because it's been so helpful for everything that I need to get done. And it takes kind of this weight off of me feeling like I'm trying to do it all by myself, because that also is a big thing. I'm doing it all. I'm doing a lot of different things, and I'm wearing a lot of different hats, and it can get heavy. It can get heavy. And leaning on others to help me in those moments where it's getting a little heavy has been a factor in me accomplishing things. Like even today, I am literally recording this episode in a house with no children because they spent the night at my mother-in-law's. And I'm okay with that. I had to be okay with that. Like, I miss my babies and they're going to walk through the door any minute. But I'm also grateful that I have support like my mom, my husband, my mother-in-law to help me, because not a lot of people have that. And for those of you that don't have a village, let me just say this. Figure out a way to expand outside of what normal people would think a village is, like your family, like your close friends, all that stuff. There are many different ways for you to incorporate and create a village. Again, some of you may not have family. There are Facebook mom groups that meet in the park. There are nanny shares. There are so many different systems. Like there's something called Sitter City. There is, care.com. Like find a way. And I know that, again, not a lot of people can afford care either, but like a couple hours, bro, like put aside just a little bit a day or something if you can, because it's so important for moms to feel like they can get a breather. And if you can get that breather in some form or fashion, do it. Do it. And again, like I said, I know it's hard and I know we don't trust our kids with everybody, but pray, do your due diligence and research, because that's a thing. You can research and find a way to cultivate your village, because we don't have time for burnout in 2020. That is not going to be your portion this year. It's not. Okay, I'm speaking to you, moms. It's not going to be your portion this year. We're going to figure it out and we're going to find it out. Okay? And that was a really weird sidebar, but I just wanted to speak to you because, again, the mom guilt is also inevitable, right? Like that's something that's going to occur because, again, you're doing something outside of the two or three or one blessing that you were given. And you feel like in some ways you might be taking away from what you can give them. But I'm here to tell you, you're not. You're not taking away from what you're giving them. If anything, you're adding to it. Okay? You are filling your cup up so that you can give them everything and you can pour out into them because your cup is full. And not just in a self-care, like self-love kind of way, like the sense of fulfillment of being able to reach goals outside of your children is a completely different thing. At least for me. I wanted to be a mom and wife so bad that I have now gotten that. And I realized that I wanted a little bit more. I wanted a little bit more. And that was a weird feeling to have, to say, I am not just satisfied with being a mom. Yeah. Admitting that to myself, even admitting that now, is a little weird. But I'm not going to let that weird guilt cripple me and stop me from moving forward. And I don't think it should do that for you either. I think that our children are blessings and they come into our lives and give us so much joy and so much purpose. But they also grow up to be their own little amazing human selves outside of you. And you have to kind of find other things outside of them to give you a sense of purpose. And that's okay. But again, that's also my story too. It may not be yours. Being a mom for some women or people in general, being a parent is like, that's it. This was what I wanted and I am fulfilled. And if that is you, kudos to you. That's amazing. But for me, I wanted a little bit more. And I decided to lean on the people that supported me in that endeavor. And I'm so grateful that I have them and that I'm able to do that. And then I realized that it really, all of that kind of boiled down to this specific thing. God kind of has to be at the center of all of this. It cannot just be me and what I want, because I've learned through different time periods in my life that when I'm operating in my own strength, that's when it gets hard. And not necessarily hard, not just hard, but like struggle hard. Because there's, life is hard in general, right? And it's always going to be a push. But when you're operating in your own strength and you do not have God surrounding you, front, back, side, whatever, for me anyways, that's when the hard becomes unbearable. That's when the hard causes me to want to give up. And even in some cases, give up. And I did not want to do that this time. I didn't want to throw in the towel just because it got hard. And so I knew that my relationship with God kind of had to come first. And it has to come first. Always. It all has to circle back to Him. And the desires of my heart were given to me by Him. So why not offer those desires back and say, hey, Lord, if this isn't what you want me to do, and trust me, that is something that I have been telling Him this entire journey, is if this is not what you want me to do, I will pivot. I will pivot so hard, like it's not even an option at this point. And it doesn't matter how much money and time I have poured into this, I will drop it if you tell me to drop it. And living in that kind of surrender is scary. So just for girlies like me who thrive in having control over situations and just kind of having everything planned out to a T, giving that type of, relinquishing that type of control to God, like giving that to Him, it's scary. It's scary. It's different and it's uncomfortable. And I don't always like the responses that I get when I say those things. But in order to be consistent, I have to be obedient. And in order to be obedient, I have to surrender. So I realized that I have to tap into what He wants, especially because there's also a lot of direction that I need in this season, a lot of wisdom. And if I'm not tapped in, I can't get that wisdom. And then I'm again relying on my own strength and my own knowledge, which doesn't always tend to lead me in the right direction. So I have to make sure that I am connected and open to what He wants. And so that's why it all kind of has to circle back to Him. And then in embracing the surrender of it all, I have to expand my expectation for exceedingly and abundantly above all I can ever ask or think. I have to expand that expectation. I have to step out on that type of faith, because big dreams, big vision requires big faith. And then that faith has to leave room for abundant blessings that go above and beyond anything we could ask for. And that is still something that I'm working on. I'm being honest, because I am also somebody that's like, if I can see it, then I know what's going on. But I'm also somebody that has seen the goodness of God exceed every vision I thought I had for myself. So I have to choose daily which thing I'm going to believe. Like, I have to choose that daily. That is still a path that I am working on consistently. And it's probably going to be a lifelong journey. And I'm okay with that. As long as I keep reminding myself that He does exceedingly and abundantly above all I can ask or think. There is hope. Okay? I have to have faith in that. I have to have faith in the promises and the vision that He has given me. And that requires surrender and obedience, which are backbones of consistency, at least for me. And it also helps me to remember too that I'm not alone. I'm not alone. He's always with me. And I want that to be a reminder for you too, that you are not alone. He is always with you. He comforts us in times of sorrow. He grants us peace. He cultivates joy and love in moments when you wouldn't even think that was possible. He does. And sometimes it does get hard. But I have to have faith that it's all working out for my good. It's all working together for my good. And for the good of those who love Him. So, I pray that this blessed you. I pray that it gave you some insight into what your own word or feeling or theme for 2025 can be. And even some ways that you can kind of take it to a different level and take it just beyond goal setting or resolution setting. Like, really take some time this year to ask yourself, how am I committed to consistency in this next season? Or how do I want 2025 to be for me? How do I want to feel? How do I want to thrive? Where do I want God to take me? Really take those questions into consideration, because we are entering into a different type of era, not just, societally, but spiritually and all the things. And doors are opening. Windows are opening. They're there for us to take advantage of. We just have to seek and ask, and they will be revealed to us. So really take some time to reflect. And I hope that this episode really gave you some insight into what 2025 can be if you just believe. That was so cheesy. But it just felt good. Oh, all right, y'all. So share your reflections and thoughts in the comments below, or I know Spotify now has a feature where you can comment when you're listening. So if you take a minute, just, answer, throw your thoughts and things in there. I want us to grow as a community, and I really want to connect with you guys, support you, pray for you, all the things. And that is where we're going to do it, all in the comments. Okay. I am possibly playing with a little schedule change for the next coming episodes, because again, I'm doing a lot of things in content creation personally. I'm also supporting clients, and I'm trying to be here also as a stay-at-home twin mama and wife. So we got a lot of hats we're juggling, and I'm realizing that, that means that I'm going to have to move some things around. So we might go from a weekly to a bi-weekly format for episodes, and I'm just hoping that you guys stick around for that. I know we just started being consistent with episodes, and we just started the new year, but I really want to make sure that I give you guys quality, and I give you guys good content, good things to take, good thoughts, good, insight, all the things. I'm going to be bringing on guests. So there's going to be a lot of different things that are happening in this year. I really cannot wait for you guys to check it out. So I'm so grateful for you all. Please make sure to rate and review on Apple Podcasts and follow on Spotify and on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, ring that bell to keep the vibes vibing. And until next time, this is the Slay Babe, Jess herself, signing out. Keep slaying, guys, and have a great 2025.